Costco sold 137 million rotisserie chickens last year for $4. 99 each. That adds up to almost $700 million from chickens turning under hot display lights. But here is the surprising part. Even though Costco sells more rotisserie chickens than anyone else, it still does not land in the top 3 for quality among some of America's most popular grocery stores. Rotisserie chickens can look like the perfect shortcut, but some are disappointing meals hiding behind convenience. I spent 3 weeks buying rotisserie chickens from major grocery chains and checking them at different times of the day. What I found may help you spend smarter and avoid a few real food safety concerns. Today, we are ranking the rotisserie chickens you may want to skip and revealing 3 underrated picks that could make you wonder why you cook chicken at home in the first place. Let's begin with the chickens that should make shoppers pause. In 5th place is Walmart Great Value. Walmart's Great Value rotisserie chicken shows that sometimes a low price really does come with trade-offs, even when the meal already looks inexpensive. At Patru, Joshua, it sits right beside Costco on price. But after that, the comparison starts to fall apart. Walmart's rotisserie chickens seem unsure of what they are trying to be. At times, they feel less like a ready-to-eat dinner and more like a test of patience. The first concern is consistency, or more accurately, the absence of it. Buy one on a Monday, and you may bring home something that looks like a normal chicken. Pick one up on a Friday evening, and you may find a bird that seems like it has been sitting under warming lights for far too long. The seasoning is dull in a very noticeable way, almost as if someone tried to explain flavor without ever tasting it. The skin can be pale and soft in one section, then tough and overdone in another, sometimes on the very same chicken. It feels like a live demonstration of how many ways a simple chicken dinner can go wrong. But the bigger concern is freshness, Walmart's high volume. Low-cost model means some chickens can spend a long time under heat lamps. I bought birds that clearly had been cooked hours earlier, with meat that felt tired, dry, and past its best moment by lunchtime. The sodium level is not outrageous, at about 460 milligrams per serving, but when the basic flavor barely tastes like chicken, that number does not help much. In the end, you are paying about $5 for a dinner that may leave you wishing you had chosen something else. In 4th place is Kroger. Kroger lands here with rotisserie chickens that show what can happen when value pricing feels more like quiet cost cutting. At Chinch, Joshua, they cost more than Costco's chicken. Yet the eating experience makes you realize how easy it is to mishandle something as basic as roasting a chicken. The seasoning plan seems to be simple. When unsure, add more salt. Kroger's rotisserie chickens can have more than 520 milligrams of sodium per serving, which is close to 1/4 of the daily recommended limit. The taste is best described as heavily salty, with very little else to balance it. The cooking method feels like it was designed by someone who understood the idea of rotisserie chicken, but not the care behind making it well. The skin is often cooked too far, pulling away from the meat, as if it wants nothing to do with the rest of the bird. The meat itself moves between dry and rubbery, and sometimes manages to be both at once in a strange kind of kitchen mistake. Kroger's biggest problem is that quality can change from store to store. Some locations do a decent job, while others seem to treat rotisserie chicken like a last stop for birds that needed to be sold quickly. It feels like taking a chance on dinner when all you wanted was an easy meal. The packaging is basic and serviceable, with plain plastic containers that hold the chicken but do little for temperature control or presentation. The time labels can be hard to read or missing, which says a lot about how seriously freshness is being handled. For 5.99. You could buy a raw chicken and season it yourself with better flavor and far less salt. Kroger's rotisserie chicken is meant to be convenient, but it is not always convenient enough, and it is rarely good enough. In third place is Safeway. Safeway takes the bronze spot for disappointment with rotisserie chickens priced at $7. Joe, yet the eating experience makes you wonder if anyone checked what the chicken should taste like. At nearly $8, these birds are priced like a better prepared meal, but the results do not feel premium at all. The seasoning comes across as a mixed-up collection of herbs and spices with no clear direction. It is there, but it never comes together into a flavor that makes sense. It feels as if several seasonings were added at once, hoping one of them would do the work. The texture is where Safeway really settles into average territory. The meat is often dry, while the skin can feel thin, limp, and weak. Take a bite of a Safeway rotisserie chicken, and the main impression is plainness dressed up as dinner. But the bigger concern is freshness. I bought Safeway rotisserie chickens that clearly seemed to have been cooked much earlier in the day, then held under warming lights that did not appear to help much. The result is chicken that may be acceptable to eat, but tastes tired and past its best window. The sodium content is moderate, at about 480 milligrams per serving. But when the basic flavor only slightly reminds you of chicken, that is not a major win. You are paying a higher price for a meal that feels disappointing. Safeway's rotisserie chicken shows a familiar problem with some grocery store prepared foods. The price is high, the quality is low, and the store seems to assume shoppers will not notice. The trouble is, some shoppers do notice, and this one does not make a strong case for itself. In second place is Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop earns the silver spot in this lineup of disappointment with rotisserie chickens that manage to feel both too expensive and not satisfying enough. At 49. They are placed like a middle-range choice, but the results feel closer to the bottom. The seasoning tastes as if it was added by someone who understood the idea of flavor, but not how to bring it out in real food. It is present, but it has no clear personality or purpose. The herbs and spices seem to sit near the chicken without ever becoming part of it. The cooking is where Stop and Shop stands out for the wrong reasons. The chickens are often cooked too long, with skin that feels tough and unappealing, almost like leather left out in the heat. The meat below that skin is dry and stringy, as if the chicken had been pushed through a cooking process that removed most of its comfort and appeal. But the real problem is value. At Chasse Sergio, you are paying more for what feels like a lesson in how to mishandle a simple chicken dinner. The portions are smaller than many competitors, the quality is uneven, and the full experience makes you wonder why you did not just pick another easy meal. The freshness standards vary quite a bit. Some stores seem to move product at a reasonable pace, while others appear to use rotisserie chicken as a way to clear out birds that needed to be sold soon. It feels like taking a gamble on dinner, except the reward is rarely worth it. Stop and Shop's rotisserie chicken is supposed to be a convenient meal, but it is not especially convenient in value, and it is not worth the extra price they are asking for. At number 1 on our list of problem picks is Costco. Yes, this one may surprise a lot of people. Even though Costco sells 137 million rotisserie chickens a year and keeps that famous $4.99 price, its chicken is a better example of smart marketing than strong food quality. Here is what Costco does well. It gives shoppers consistency and a low price. Every Costco rotisserie chicken tastes almost exactly the same, costs exactly $4, 就是 and gives you the same average experience whether you are shopping in California or Connecticut. It is the fast food version of rotisserie chicken. Dependable, familiar, and very middle of the road. But here is where it falls short. Almost everything else. The chickens are injected with a sodium solution that can raise their weight by up to 15%, which means part of what you are paying for is salt water. The sodium level is very high at more than 460 milligrams per serving, making it feel less like a simple chicken dinner and more like a salty prepared food. The flavor is flat and processed, almost as if someone tried to recreate chicken using mostly sodium and smoke flavor. The texture is soft all the way through, without the natural variety that makes a well-cooked chicken enjoyable. The recent packaging change from firm containers to thin bags has also made the experience more frustrating. Try taking a whole chicken out of a plastic bag without making a mess on your kitchen counter. It feels like the package was designed to test your patience. But the larger problem is that Costco's rotisserie chicken is now so common that many shoppers treat it like the gold standard. It is not. It shows how volume and price can win over quality and flavor. It is convenient food that is certainly convenient, but not especially good food. Before we reveal the 3 rotisserie chickens that are actually worth your money, I want to thank you for staying with me this far. If this grocery store investigation is helping you, please hit the like button. It really helps more viewers find these deep dives. And if you are the kind of shopper who wants to know which food brands are truly worth your hard-earned money, subscribe, because we have many more investigations coming your way. Now, let's look at the stores that seem to understand what rotisserie chicken is supposed to be. These are the 3 juicy picks worth trying tonight. In third place is Sprouts. Sprouts earns this spot by doing something surprisingly rare in the grocery business. It treats rotisserie chicken like real prepared food, not just a cheap traffic driver or a way to move extra inventory. Their chickens come from antibiotic-free birds, and that is not just a label for shoppers. It can affect the way the chicken tastes and feels. Birds that were not raised with antibiotics often have a more natural texture and flavor once they are cooked. The seasoning is thoughtful without taking over the whole meal. It uses herbs and spices that bring out the chicken flavor instead of covering it with too much salt or artificial smoke. You can actually taste the chicken, which feels almost unusual in the world of grocery store rotisserie. The cooking is simple and honest. No sodium solution injected into the meat. No artificial flavor boosters. Just chicken seasoned well and cooked with care. The result is meat that tastes the way chicken should taste. What a concept! Sprouts also does a strong job with freshness. They cook chickens in smaller rounds during the day, which usually means better turnover and a fresher product. The time labels are clear, and they actually pull chickens that have been sitting too long at about $7. 99. It costs more than the cheapest options, but the quality helps explain the price. You are paying for real food preparation, not factory-style processing. The sodium content is reasonable at about 380 milligrams per serving. It is enough to support the flavor but not so much that you feel like reaching for water all night. In second place is Wegmans. Wegmans earns the silver spot by treating rotisserie chicken like something that should be cooked with care. This is a grocery chain that understands the difference between preparing food and simply processing it. And you can taste that difference in every bite. Their rotisserie chickens are made fresh throughout the day in small batches, which means you are more likely to get a bird that was cooked recently instead of one that has been waiting under warming lights since morning. The seasoning is well balanced. It has enough flavor to keep things interesting, but it still lets the chicken itself come through. It feels like they understand the goal is to improve the chicken, not turn it into a salty herb mixture that just happens to include meat. What makes Wegmans stand out is how steady the quality is from store to store and from one time of day to another. Their rotisserie chickens taste similar whether you buy one on a Tuesday afternoon or a Saturday evening, which suggests their quality control is actually working. The skin is usually golden and crisp, the meat stays juicy and flavorful, and the overall experience is what rotisserie chicken should be, though it often is not. The sodium content is reasonable at about 460 milligrams per serving. It is there, but it does not take over. The packaging uses sturdy plastic containers that help protect the chicken and hold its temperature. The time labels are easy to see and honest, and employees often know when the next batch will be ready. It feels like they understand rotisserie chicken is real food, not just a grocery store trick at Opt. Joe. It is priced as a premium option, and unlike many higher-priced grocery items, it actually gives you premium results. In first place is Fairway Market. This store shows that rotisserie chicken can still be quick, practical, and truly enjoyable. They have figured out what many grocery stores miss. They treat rotisserie chicken like real cooking, not factory-style food production. Fairway's rotisserie chickens are often recognized by both shoppers and food reviewers for their strong flavor and their ability to stay moist. The reason is not mysterious. They start with better quality chickens, cook them the right way, and do not seem to take shortcuts with time, temperature, or ingredients. The seasoning is carefully balanced. The herbs and spices work together, building flavor as you eat, instead of covering the chicken with heavy salt and fake smoke flavor. The skin is usually crisp and golden, with a pleasing bite that leads into juicy, flavorful meat beneath it. The change in texture from crisp skin to tender breast meat to slightly firmer dark meat makes the meal feel interesting instead of soft and one note. What truly separates Fairway is how they handle freshness. They cook chickens in smaller batches during the day, which means better turnover and a fresher product. They are also more honest about timing. If a chicken has been sitting too long, they will tell you when the next batch is ready, instead of pushing one that is past its best point. Their temperature control is strong, with properly set warming lights that help keep food at safe temperatures without drying out the chicken. The packaging uses sturdy containers that protect the chicken and help preserve quality on the way home. At Noah, Joe, it is the highest priced option on this list, but the quality makes the cost feel earned. This is what happens when a grocery store treats rotisserie chicken as prepared food, not just a cheap lure or a way to move older inventory. The sodium content is the lowest on our list at about 340 milligrams per serving. That is enough to support the flavor without taking over your daily sodium intake. Fairway shows that rotisserie chicken does not have to force you to choose between convenience and quality. When it is done well, you can have both. After 3 weeks of looking closely at rotisserie chicken, here is what became clear. The gap between a good grocery store chicken and a bad one is not only about price or convenience, it is about whether a store sees shoppers as people who deserve real food, or simply as customers moving through the checkout line. The weakest rotisserie chickens on our list had the same patterns: too much sodium, poor cooking methods, uneven freshness standards, and a belief that shoppers will not notice the difference between real food and something that only looks like it. They are meant to be convenient, but they do not always make dinner easier, and they are certainly not always good. The best rotisserie chickens understand that convenience does not have to mean giving up quality. They use better ingredients, follow better cooking methods, keep freshness standards clear, and treat the whole process with care. Your grocery money matters, and your dinner deserves better than a tired chicken sitting under warming lights. Look for stores that cook in smaller batches, hold food at proper temperatures, use sensible sodium levels, and treat rotisserie chicken like the cooking craft it should be. The next time that $4.99 price catches your eye, remember this: sometimes the costliest thing in the store is the cheap food that disappoints you. Your taste buds and your health are worth a few extra dollars for chicken that actually tastes like chicken. If this investigation helped you shop smarter for rotisserie chicken, hit the subscribe button. We have many more grocery store deep dives coming that may change the way you choose food.